But it was like when I saw your Facebook post and you were like, look, I wish I could tell you that like I do this like one thing every day and it's so perfect, but like that's not really life. And some people are that way, but then they get completely fried and burned out. So we're going to talk about like everything that goes, it's like Rage Against the Machine. It's like everything that is like, oh no, you said this was like this, but like it's really not. And so breaking it down to really be like, what does that actually look like? You know?
Yeah.
Sounds cool?
Easy.
Okay. So I will be like 3, 2, 1. And I'll just go into my usual, shticky kind of thing.
Yeah.
Although it's a little different with each person, but depending on my vibe, and I love you. So let's just be a little honest about that. So, and then we'll just, like I said, see where it goes, have a real conversation, open conversation, and we'll just jam. Now,
love it.
I call you JJ.
Yeah.
But you call yourself Jay sometimes, right?
Yeah, I don't care either way.
Okay.
Like it's the same thing to me.
Okay. All right. All right. So we'll go 3, 2, 1. Hey guys, I am super pumped. It's Rachel Feldman here, bringing you awesome people like this fabulous woman, JJ, to speak about everything that happens on Facebook or marketing that may not be the T. And that's not a timeout. That's truth. So we like to bring business bombs, truth bombs, health bombs, any bomb that you can think of, because the reality is you got to be healthy when you're building your business. And that's why we call this the healthy hustle. So without further ado, I want to welcome my good friend and rock star, awesome, sincere, loving, badass mom, badass wife, and friend, JJ.
Yay!
Party! Spear fingers. So JJ, tell everyone, I of course gave you like but tell everyone just a little, like tell them about you, like in your own words and stuff like that.
Okay. Well, right now, I'll just say this is life now. Mom of a 2-year-old, wife of a fireman, and a very erratic schedule, business owner of a health coaching company where I lead retreats, private coaching, masterminding, detoxes, getting into guest speaking. And to do this all, I really play on my diagnosed ADD and ADHD.
And you literally, what's crazy is I know, I've interviewed you many times, so like not in this like podcast fashion.
Yeah.
So like formal. But you've always said that. And I always think like, even you and I were talking the other day when I like called you, I was going to acupuncture. I'm like, JJ, okay, I got to just like, and so guys, FYI, like if you don't have your business bestie, and that doesn't just mean someone like you're in business, but if you don't have someone that you can be like, dude, I have to run this by you. Like, am I normal? Or am I having like a breakdown? Like, so JJ is one of my business besties, but I called you and you were like, ba-na-na-na, and I'm like, ba-na-na-na-na, and you were like, yeah, just listening. And every time I've interviewed you, you're like, oh yeah, it's like my ADD. Mm-hmm. But we were even saying the other day in our convo is that like we've watched, because I graduated from the Institute for Integrative Nutrition back in like 2010. We've known each other for so long. Mm-hmm. And we're like, what is up with like the coaches who don't make it? Like we were the ones that like, okay, yes, you want systems, you want that. But we were like, okay, I am literally going to throw the dart and like hope that it's going to land. And and you even said, you're like, we're doers. So can you even tell, like, even before we jam in, some people are like, oh, that means they're all about the hustle. But like, if someone looks at you and they follow you, you're like yoga, you're like mom, you're like, so kind of break down for somebody who sees like, well, I'm so not like Rachel. She just talks fast. And blah, blah, blah. But like, tell them what that means to like, just be a doer.
Yeah. So really there's no other option. Like, especially I remember graduating from IIN and you could start seeing clients 6 months in. So it was like 2011, 6 months in, I had this is what we were taught to say, you had 3 spots available for free coaching. So I was like, oh, perfect. That's a good way to get my feet wet. There's kind of no pressure. And so I got 3 clients, and it was for free. And so I was just like figuring out what the hell it meant to be a health coach. And then from there, I was like, ooh, I'm finding that I'm attracting these weight loss clients. And I'm finding that I'm attracting these women who there's some connection to why they can't put that kind of food down. And so I got really interested in behind the scenes of losing weight. And then from there, I started really low. It was like $40 per session because I was just building up my confidence in coaching. So I was like $40, and then quickly learned that $40 per session would not be sustainable.
Or yeah. Or even pay for like one trip to like,
No.
or like, wait, 5 juices.
It was like, I could get one pedicure a year if I
one lunch, one Zen Buddha bowl and a juice.
Yeah. It was like 2 yoga classes I could get. And I was like, this is not working out. And so I was like, okay, I see people giving health talks for free to build their list. I'm like, what the hell is a list? And so I was like, I just did, figured out what didn't work for me, figured out what I really love doing. And I had to ask myself this question all the time. What would I do if I wasn't charging money? What really makes me happy? And it was like, I love leading retreats. And it's like, I love offline, but not every year, like we talked about a few months ago. It was like, some years I love offline. I want to connect. Some years I'm like, holy shit, last year kicked my butt.
Yeah. Or you're just drained. Like you and I talked about like even, and I started to get chills because I'm like, oh, everyone needs to hear this. Like you and I talked about our bandwidth, like of ourselves. And I think that's why when people are like, I'm only doing online, I'm like, whoa, okay. And they're like, I'm only doing offline. I'm like, wow, only is a pretty powerful word, because that means like you're never open to either change the possibility, and you're not asking yourself those key questions. Like you and I talked about, how do you really do it without going into this massive adrenal fatigue? How do you build your business, but also know your bandwidth? And how you and I coach, when I was coaching health coaches or even business, it's like, you're all in it. So I can't handle, me personally, like what I see some people do, 20 people a week, 10 people a week. Like I was just like, woo, it's too much.
Can't. Yeah. And like at the beginning, I thought it was get as many clients as you can, basically burn yourself out and like become this success story that is making money, but you're like dying. You have the session, and then after you just lay on the couch because you're like, oh my God, I don't even have the energy to make a healthy meal for myself. And so it's like you have to, I think 8 years in now, I've created energetic boundaries where it was like, I don't attract the people that want free coaching anymore, which is great, because at the beginning I would get these messages on Facebook and it was like, hey, I have all these questions. And it was like, I found myself giving free coaching, and that didn't feel right to me. Like I was like, there's no exchange here. It's like, take, and then I'm left empty. And you're not even going to follow through on anything I just gave you because you didn't invest in it. So I found that, actually having boundaries around coaching and what I'm going to offer allowed me to be way more successful and allowed me to have less clients and a higher price, which is a win-win for both of us. You pay more, you're more invested. I'm more invested. I literally am just thinking about you. So, but I wouldn't have known any of this in the first 5 years of coaching. It was just guess and check and do.
Well, and that's what I was going to say, because like, I love that you kind of brought this into 2 places, which is like the coach that has been coaching, and you finally get into that place where you're like, And I remember that too. I swear I was starting to breathe and really be like, okay, what is working, what's not at that like 6 to 7, like really 6 to 7, and being like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm out of what is called, and I do believe, I don't care what anybody says when they're like, don't hustle. I'm like, I don't care what any business, like when I was in commercial real estate, they would say it takes 3 to 5 years to build a book. Do not quit or make this your second job, but like you're going to have to work and refine and know what you do and practice this 25 times a day while you're by yourself going, what am I going to say to that person? Oh yeah, this is what I do, blah, blah, blah. And so I think that's what I love that you just showed, like the early part where there still is, you've got to stick in because you haven't created those, what we call clear boundaries. We don't even know. I didn't know who my ideal client was. I felt guilty if I wasn't like giving them everything. Yeah. And I think everyone goes through that. And then you took us to like now where you're like, I'm super clear. And I'm also super clear on who I'm meant to work with. How do you think a person in year 2, like if you could go back to year 2 or 3, what would you say you would have done different?
I want to say my gut says I would have raised my prices earlier on. But I think I would have stopped listening to all the advice and I would have gotten quiet and I would have just sat there and been like, what do I want to do? And then I would have written it down because there was so many times where it was like, I felt stuck when you're never really stuck. You just like, there's too many choices. So it was like, I felt stuck. And then I would listen to what everyone else was doing. And I would get on Facebook and I'd just be frozen because I'd be comparing myself to all these other people who were like earlier on and they were having success. And I'm like, seriously, I put in so much time and how are they doing this? And so it was like, then you start feeling low self-worth or just like, you'll never make it. You're just depleted and you're like, I'm killing myself and why? And so I think if I could go back to year 2, I would have started figuring out what really lit me up and what kind of clients I was bringing in. And if there was an invisible string to their commonalities.
Yep. So it's almost like, and I say the same thing, like that only difference between me and in year like 2 to being like, I'm going to quit. I'm going back to real estate. And like when you're a coach, it's not like you're showing up on Facebook being like, I'm quitting because I'm making no money, although you see that like in every group. But I just was like, this is paying for 2 kids in Montessori. Like that's it. What I'm making is paying for that. And my time equity and everything. And it wasn't until I sat there and invested in a coach. One to work on just niche. One to do a VIP day. And I didn't have the money. So I said this to Scott last night. I was like, I didn't get my hair done. Didn't get my nails done. Like I cut out everything that I was like, I'm doing my nails at home. And my mother-in-law was like, well, this is the great hair stuff I use. And I was like, I don't want to do that. But I did do it. I mean, I remember all the sacrifices. I was like, no, Scott, you are not going to Freshmark. I mean, you're not going to Freshmark. You're not going to Whole Foods. You're going to this farm. And not that
you're going to the gas station.
Right? I mean, not that you shouldn't go to a farm, but it was just like, I really was saving up and I had that session. I remember in 5 hours, like crying, breaking through because it was so clear to me. I didn't know my avatar. I would say things like, I'm going to help people detox so they feel better and have better digestion. Or, I want to help people feel lighter and brighter, like all the things that we all said, even though I knew what I stood for in my soul. I didn't know how to get from my soul to blurt it out, to turn that into a product, to turn it into and then to really hear exactly what you said. Like, okay, so I'm talking detox and digestion and everything, but all these people are coming to me for weight loss. I'm like mommy overwhelmed. and
Yeah.
food allergies for their kids. And
Yeah.
so I was like, I didn't deviate from my niche. I just started listening.
Yes.
And then it was boom. And the
Mhm.
moment that it was like alignment happened, I'll never forget putting my first do it yourself and then like phone calls from local papers and
Oh my
interviews.
God.
And it was just like, it was as soon as I got clear, and my coach said that, she was like, you're going to get clear. And with that clarity, it's going to come in. I remember her saying it because I was like, are you serious? You know? She was like, your confidence is
Mhm.
going to beam out of your eyes. She was like,
Wow.
you won't anymore be like, I'm a health coach. And you're
Yeah.
gonna be like, I help people who are really confused, really,
Yep.
really
Boom.
confused about everything pretty much.
It's
Like
the
just,
gangsta of health coaching.
yeah, it was like learning how to, and I think what you were even talking about, it's like learning how to put like, oh, well, I think I should be creating this business
Mhm.
and blah, blah, blah. And this is what I'm being told, and go with this
Yeah.
easy. It's not even about the niche. It's what you were
Yeah.
saying. It's like, what are people coming, what vibe are you putting off and what are they coming to you for?
Yeah.
What really makes you light up?
Hmm. Yeah. And what you were saying about getting a business coach, that's one thing I would have done early on, because you graduate and you're a health coach, but there's just a tiny bit of business coaching in the program, at least when I went. And so it was kind of just like, you thought you'd graduate and then have this slew of clients waiting for you when no one even knows.
Truth bomb number 5 that we're on. Right.
It's like, you don't even know what you're doing yet. And you know that you have something inside of you that forced you to sign up for health coaching in school, but you don't know why yet. And you don't know, you know why maybe for yourself, but you're like, do I even want to be a health coach? And then you're coaching as you're figuring it out.
100%.
Yeah. And then it's like, but when you get a business coach who's like, okay, well, you seem to be doing kind of the same thing with each client. So let's package that and put that into a
Yeah.
program. And then you're like, holy shit. And then you don't realize that there's a team of people. And that's what I posted about yesterday. There's a team of people behind creating this image in the online world that you had no idea that was happening, with people you saw rising fast who don't have the money but spent like $200 on Facebook ads or Instagram ads. And that wasn't even around when we graduated. And it was like, you don't realize that there's copywriters and people are paying $500 for a copywriter to write like one thing. And so it's like, there's so many things, but you don't even need to be concerned about that until you figure out exactly what you're doing and you start making a living off of it.
And I think, I even think back to, because unless you come to coaching
Yeah.
with a ton of money from another business,
Yeah.
savings, or
Mhm.
you are willing to, and I hear many people who are, they're like, I took a home equity loan out. I joined a $30,000 mastermind and I put it on. I
Yeah.
get that. But
Mhm.
I've also seen those people make a huge mistake where they're like, I did that so early
Yeah.
in my career, or
Yeah.
I got the copy written. And again,
Mhm.
this isn't like dissing. If it worked for you, drop a comment wherever you're watching. I would love,
Yeah.
because you nailed it. And I know people who did nail it right away. But just like you said, there's usually a think tank team
Mhm.
behind that person who nailed it right away.
Exactly.
And if you're coming, like most of us as solo entrepreneurs,
Mhm.
and you're like, I have no money,
I
I
had no
think
money.
I think back to what I should have done is literally said to some other people, hey, and I see these I see this interestingly in other industries where they formed like 5 girl bestie masterminds within themselves. And they just
That's
ran things off of each other,
Mhm.
built stuff, built like a course, but then built it to match their own
Mhm.
niche, their own industry. So they were constantly, and there's actually these 5 dudes who are like one's a multi-7, one's an 8, like figure earner, totally different industry. But there have been like they call them the bestie dude dads. And they are like the hot, like they are people, they're like, we've done this. We meet twice a month and we've done this for
Oh,
years.
that
And
is
so
awesome.
when I think about like ways that you can, even if you don't have the money, I think about like all the people who I could have sat and said like 1 hour a week, we're together. Here's our
Yeah.
accountability. This
Yeah.
is what we need to do. But I think it goes back to what you said is sometimes you don't even know what you're doing and you have to sit quiet and listen. But if people don't know you, I want to just share a few things because what I watched you do so eloquently, and this comes innately for people, for some people it comes intuitively, was that you always thought about the person first and then what you were doing. And you never were like, you never jailed yourself to like, oh, well, I only have to do this one thing, because I've watched you like be single, get married, pregnant, have a baby, create a course like after having a baby, because that's what called to you. But you never really deviated from the brand, which was just your message. Like you flexed in between all these different things, but it never looked like you were all over the place. Like it was sugar, it was weight, it was postpartum, it was, so can you kind of share with somebody who's like, I am only, I love this. I mean, you see it all the time. You're like, I'm a gut health expert. I'm a this, and they can't deviate around to kind of like humanize, to say, wow, well, this person with gut, their pain, which is like avatar work, their pain may be something else, and I'm not seeing it because I'm not closing my ears enough. I'm so worried that I don't have it done right.
Yes.
So because that is your jam.
Yes. And like that thing, first of all, you don't become a health coach to be on TV or to be on anything. You do it because you want to help people who have been where you've been. It's like a before and after, and you're the after. And so you have like such compassion and empathy for what these people are going through. And you're like, I want to take you on your journey. So I think that's my biggest thing is, and for a long time, I felt like I kind of wanted to see other people shining. Like I wanted to stay behind the scenes, and I was like, I want to help you get to this top level, but I kind of want to do it secretly because the focus isn't on me. It's on the client. And that's like where I operate from. But now that like the last 3 years, the last 2 years after becoming a mom, it was like, I felt like when you become a mom, you're kind of pushed to the side anyway. So it was like, that's not fair. Like, that's not fair. I'm still who I am. And so it was like, I still need to be my own person besides mom, wife, business owner, whatever that is. Like, so as I started standing taller and like just feeling more shiny from my heart, I started showing up more, and then my clients started showing up more. So it's like your business just peels back the layers on your own limitations as you get higher and higher. And you have to, like, that phrase, it's like new level, new devil. So it's like you're continually, I feel like my business is just, it's like therapy for who I am.
I always have said, like, why didn't I just start like a business at 14? Because I would have been thrown everything, like all the things. And you and I talk about mindset a lot because, especially this year where I was like, this is why I have to do this podcast. It's why I have to do this business different. It's not just the funnel. It's not just the freebie. It's not just the workshop. It's not just the avatar, the niche. It's like, it's all the avatars under your niche. It's their buyer personality. It's who they are. But at the end of the day, it's what? Do you believe in yourself? Have you worked on your own stuff? Or are you asking yourself every time you're like, I want to go live, but are they going to think I'm stupid? Imposter because I haven't gone, it's like we talked about this also yesterday. Like when I was in the throes of my autoimmune and looked thicker than sick, I still showed up and was like, okay, I am in the throes of my autoimmune. Fun. Homeopathic injections were last week. I have not been able to sleep for like a month, or last month because I am sweating out whatever is coming. Yeah. But I shared the journey. And I feel like most coaches don't believe in themselves. And that's an old story. You don't just like somebody put that on you. Somebody dimmed your shine. Like we inherited that story. So like when you think about where you are now, and that what you said, like peeling back the layers and limitations, what would you say has really like changed the game for you as a person in business and as a woman?
What has really changed the game for me? Well, it was starting to happen before I had Bodhi, but really it was kind of like I had an emergency C-section with him. And it was after that where I felt like I died, like in that operating room. And it was kind of like this realization that I have one shot. I have one life. So I can't spend it thinking I'm not good enough and let that prevent me from who I'm supposed to be. And so that trauma attracted other people who had had similar traumas. And I was like, I love this more than anything. I love helping women kind of, in a way, recover from traumatic situations and let them see, like, but you made it. You made it. Yeah, you went through all that stuff, but here you are, and you're still showing up and you're still trying to better yourself. And then within that, you get this power and you get this strength. And so it's like, as the layers literally shed from that C-section, and seriously, these limiting beliefs come up every time I make more in a month. I'm like, holy shit, I've never made this much and it's not coming next month. And then it's like, whoa, sister, hold on. And so it's like, something that has so helped me is these I am statements. Like, I am rich. I am healthy. I am healing. Because just like you, Rach, I have hypothyroidism that I'm not even sure. Maybe it's already turned into Hashimoto's. Like, I don't know, but it doesn't mean
I am healthy.
Yeah. So, and I really have been repeating that. I'm like, I am rested. I am. And so it's like these I am statements have really helped me. Like, I am confident. I am worthy of success in all ways. I am, whatever it is for you, like, that has really helped me. And I'm constantly saying it. Like, I'm in a down dog in a yoga class and I'm like, I am worthy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God.
But people, it's interesting because I remember going to acupuncture and I am a quick fix. Like even in my family, people are always like, Rach, you right away if somebody's not okay. I'm like, okay, this is what we're going to do. Like, because it gives me such, like, it's a panic
thrill.
It is. And I think that's also why coaches were feelers.
Yeah.
Like, and if you don't know what a feeler is, like, do you have gut issues? Do you kind of sit there and you're like, oh, why am I feeling nervous? Why did going into that crowd? Like, why do I feel a little shaky? Why am I having, like, you're a feeler. It's okay. Whatever you want to call yourself. But I used to sit there and be like, no, I know it's this. Let's do this, or I know I need this Chinese herb, or I know it's this. And my acupuncturist used to always say, or you could start to breathe. And one of my other acupuncturists was like, and your homework for this week is to do some Qigong. And I was like, you could see fumes coming out. And I'm not saying that I don't diss. I mean, I would say, like, woo woo with a lot of stuff, but there's certain stuff, if you're not giving me that fix quick.
Yeah.
And it took me years to get to the point because it was that fear. It was like, what if I change? What if I change how I really operate?
Exactly.
Who am I going to be?
Yeah.
And I think that's the part that you talked about, like, even having, like, the boatman is that, it's like a huge part dies and you're like, who am I?
Yeah.
And the same thing I know happens every time I let go of an old story. Like, well, this is because, like, the story is kind of serving you still, otherwise it wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
So this year was really about, like, I'm letting go of all of it. I took this past year to rewire every part of me because I knew if not, I wouldn't be happy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have great relationships.
Yeah.
I would feel tired all the time.
Yeah.
Until I finally realized, like, wow, I'm not saying, like, an Om Shanti out, a parasite.
Yeah.
Some may believe that. God bless you.
Yeah.
But I do feel like the coming out of that shh, am I enough? Am I enough? Am I this? And really coming into it like that affirmation stage, or just even like faith, like faith and trust, is a huge thing.
That is, I mean, that's everything. Because when you don't see anything or you don't have clients, you can choose. Either you're done and you're like, it's not working for me.
And then you're vibing like this, like, oh yeah, I'm really happy. Everything's going great. And inside you're like, motherfucker. you're like, I hate that girl who just said she got 59 people in her group and bought their goddamn program someday.
Exactly. It's like, or, oh my God.
No, but I mean, let's just be honest, because look, I had to put myself on a timeout on Facebook years ago.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Because I would be like, she has such a great site in mind. Like I believed it was all that.
Yeah.
Instead of just like trusting.
Okay. Think about this. Think about like, there are some websites I love. Like, I think they're so gorgeous. I've never bought anything from them. You know, so I think about that all the time. I'm like, I love their website. But then I'm like, I've never once bought anything from them because to me, it's too glamorous. It's too perfect. It's too put together. And I'm like, I don't relate to that. I'm like, I don't relate. And you and I share that. We're not the cookie cutter. It's like, you can tell me to do this a certain way and I probably won't do it like that.
Right. Like that for you and I, that's why I love when people are like, do you have the blueprint? And I'm like, because I actually, if somebody gives me a script, I start to panic and sweat.
Me too.
Right.
Me too.
You and I have talked about that. Instead, I just like my first launch, and I know we've gone all over, but guess what, guys? Welcome to also like just having a convo in the middle of, you know, the day. Yeah. So I remember like the first time I had to do a webinar and I was like, what am I going to say? And I sat there and I still do it to this day. Like, remember Gabby Bernstein's first video? Mm-hmm. Like her first video where she was like, you know, she's like, I once was a little girl, and she takes you through this whole thing. And she's like, and then I believed in myself. I listened to that Braveheart, the point of Braveheart where it was like, would you trade this day for any other day? That, no! And then Cinderella Man, where he was like, they were like, well, what, you know, what's changed? What's changed? I still to this day do the same thing. And they're like, what? I mean, come on, Braddock, like, what's changed? What are you fighting for? And he's like, bread and milk. And they're like, no, seriously, Braddock, what are you fighting for? And he's like, bread and milk. And that's when I always think about, like, you can either have faith that you're going to show up and that you've been given this opportunity, either this crappy experience that you had. Yeah. And you can turn it into something and share from soul. And I think that's what you and I have said. It's like the blueprint, you can have that all. You can have the 7K team. You can do all that. But if you can't show up and really share about like your life, how does somebody identify with you? They don't. Like that's the bottom line is, if you're trying to show up as someone who you've been told to be, you don't connect to that. And so you're just going to feel farther away. Like, you can take lessons and tips and learnings and teachings from someone, and then you create them into your own. Like you said, like if you're given a script, you kind of flub it. Like that's the same how I teach yoga and bar. If there's a certain system I have to follow, it's like, kind of, but I'll probably switch it up. Or like, I remember when I first started teaching yoga, like 8 or 9 years ago. And they were like, you need to have this class format that you've written out, and it needs to crescendo with each song. And I was like, okay. And then so I would bring these like laminated lesson plans into yoga, and I'd be like, they would be holding one leg up in down dog, and I'd be like, what the fuck am I doing next? Oh my God. And then I would like turn the thing over and I was like, where was I? And then I'd be like, and come down to child's pose. So I could look at the notes, because but the moment I started, like, I go, nope, that is not how I operate. And I started walking into a class and I'd be like, okay, we have an 80-year-old, we have a teenager, we have
5 women in their 30s. We have a guy over there. Whoa, it looks like he has knee issues. And I could tell the energy and the vibe of the room. I'd be like, all right, I know exactly what we're going to do. And it was like accessing that intuition. And that's what I mean. Like when you get quiet and you stop listening and you stop overwhelming yourself and you just come back and you're like, why did I start? Who do I want to help? How am I going to do it?
Why am I doing this? Right.
Yeah.
Because,
why?
you know, one of the things that I think is so brilliant about you as well, and when people have heard me talk about you and others that follow this simple kind of thing, I see every coach come out of school or the ones not making money, and they're like, okay, if I just do this next course, if I just buy this next thing, if I just do this, and instead of going and saying, hey, I'm going to go launch this, it's really great, I'm going to have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You know, this helped me, or
Yeah.
I did this with my girlfriends, and I'm going to
Yeah.
show up like super excited, smiles. Like the moment you and I started doing this, like you can see the cheeks change because the overwhelm, and you're like, I'm going to take pictures the whole time that I'm making the recipes. I'm going to take pictures the whole time I'm food shopping. That's going to be my 2 weeks of pre-marketing.
Exactly.
I'm going to start dripping it out.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to be like, oh my God, guys.
Yeah.
Who was totally addicted to sugar after New Year's happened? How crazy was that? Who wants to do this with me?
Yeah.
And that's what you and I did. And we would just show up and have fun with it. And if we couldn't get the PayPal figured out, we'd be like, here's the Eventbrite, or can you send me some money? And I'm not saying that automation isn't the key to up leveling, because what it allows you to do is to breathe. But sometimes you just got to, like you said earlier, like do it, figure it out, and figure out then like what did work, what didn't, and then tweak it. And then like get to the point where you can hire a virtual assistant and you can like, hire the next person.
Yes. You know, automation, this is year 7 as a health coach. I just got someone to help me with automation.
Yeah.
Like I've done everything on my own. Yeah, I've had assistants here and there that have lasted like a little bit of time, but then I'm always like, I could do that faster. I know exactly what I'm doing. So it's like, I am just automating things now. That's it. So that's why it's like, if you look at someone who has this perfectly well-oiled machine, that's great. That's great for them, but you don't need all that stuff.
But also ask them in their perfectly well-oiled machine, how much is that costing you?
Exactly.
To really, like when somebody says, oh, I made, 5 figures from this, or it's like, but really actually how much did you make? Because how much was the person you spent to rebrand? Like you and I, it's funny. I even made programs and I was like, I am not even wasting time on changing a cover. Like nobody. So I was just like, here, I would change the name even of the program. Be like, we are literally doing this like sister circle detox.
Yeah.
And she make one cover for the guide. I was like, I'm not wasting time.
No.
Like people rebrand. So that's designer fees. Then they're like, I need a full funnel. So then that's a whole, then they're like, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be an active campaign or Infusionsoft, but come on guys, if you're a new coach, and I can't tell you how many 6 and 7 figure earners in all industries are like, damn, I am going back to simplicity.
Oh, totally.
I'm going back to like simple things because maybe they're in an all-in-one where it has emails. I feel like everyone is stopping keeping up with the Joneses, or like you said, you have to step back sometimes and be like, is that really necessary? Because I'm not making any money right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like, don't put yourself into debt if nothing is coming in. Like you don't need all the glitz and glamour. Just get clients, go to gyms.
Do a workshop. You and I were talking about this. Do a workshop for $35.
Yes.
Take content you have.
Yep.
Get 10 people, make $350.
Yeah.
Do it again.
Yep.
Do a shopping tour with a whole program for $97. Do it with 10 people.
Yeah.
No automation. Send them a Dropbox, make the money back, or drop them into a Facebook group and say, hey guys, all your program materials in here. This is how we're rolling.
Exactly. And then you have no money on the line. Like
Yeah.
the first time I did a workshop, I did it at my house because I was like, I could totally do that. Actually, no, I guess it wasn't the first workshop. I first did it at a yoga studio and it was a 70-30 split. And I just thought, well, that sucks because I am doing everything. Like I did all the marketing for it. I did all this, whatever for it. And then I was like, I'll just have it at my house in the kitchen. And I love that feeling anyway. And so I had like 15 people show up for a yoga and dessert workshop. And I was like, and I didn't have to pay anyone anything.
And you're
It
not
was
even,
so great.
and everyone's having fun.
Yes.
That's why I just sit there and I'm like, okay, JJ has to be there on this because you and I have done things that was about fun, community, thinking about people. Like somebody was like, well, how could you have, to me, they were like, well, how could you have done an adrenal workshop for athletes? And I was like, because I swam competitively from the time I was to 16 and shot my adrenals.
Yeah.
And so why wouldn't that be a part? And it's like, stop thinking so much on like, does this fit your niche? Or nobody will be confused if you don't hop around the 80 different things. It's the hoppers. We're like, oh, all of a sudden I'm working, with this one network marketing. And then the next day it's a totally different. And then the next day they're doing group coaching for men. Then the next day it's like group coaching for couples. Then the next day it's that they're only working with babies. So it's like, just stay like you said, slow down.
Yeah.
Take a deep breath, find your tribe or hire a coach or just back up. Give yourself, like I did in December, I didn't talk to anybody. I actually didn't even talk to my team. I was like, I need depersonalize. I need to find, what do I want? What is my vision? Who do I really want to work with? Like got clear on seeing that instead of being like,
oh, exactly.
No, plan that before so that in those times when you can, like you can actually take that.
Yeah.
All right. Girl, we could literally, this could be like,
7 hours.
Well, yeah. And I think the first time that I ever interviewed, we were like, wow, what if we did this for 3 days? And then like just slept and there was like a camera on us. Like who would pay? I mean, I'd pay to see that. I'd be like, damn, set me up that for $197.
And we'd sleep 1 hour and be like, wait, what about this?
God. We could GoPro the whole thing and like, it would just, so that's what I mean, guys. Like if you're not seriously thinking, always like, that would be super fun. Take your super fun list and turn that into what you want to do. Oh my God, we're going to have to do that. Side note, guys, on the next special, 3 days GoPro style. GoPro, I do love it.
No one signs up.
All right. So okay.
Our husbands pay for us to do that. They're like, good, you're out of our hair for 3 days.
And that is a totally different episode which that JJ and I will be talking about. No. And guys, I just want to also bring this back because JJ and I talk about this a lot. Like you have to also be healthy at your home and your relationship. Yeah. And we are lucky that we have killer husbands, awesome guys, but like get your stuff straight at your home. Like as a holistic entrepreneur, there is no separation, like no separation. And I know that you work on your relationship, you work on everything. Like I feel the same because if we don't, like I said, it's like the girl who's like, great smoothie bowl. I love that Instagram one. She's like, great smoothie bowl. And then she's like, screw the smoothie bowl. Give me the Big Mac with the fries and double that up, man. Like with the shake, and you better have it now. That's my favorite one.
I gotta see that. God, I haven't seen it. Oh my
God. I will send that to you after. Okay. So JJ's takeaway. Let's do takeaway time. Back it up. I have to come out for a dance. 3 days, JJ and I retreat. Just come get your groove on.
These are great moves.
All right. Oh my God. I was going to do, or the shopping cart. All right. Hit everyone. Oh my goodness. God. This is the behind the scenes of shit that really happens when you talk to your biz bestie. So give one takeaway, like one, if you were like, okay, coach, you got to do this, what would it be?
One takeaway, doesn't matter how long you've been in biz. One thing I would suggest doing is knowing that the layers will come off for you. So as you evolve in your business, you have to know that it is a therapy session on every single level. That is what I want you to know, is that like, as you evolve, your business evolves with you. It's not two separate things. Like you said, Reach, like when I became a mom, my business evolved. I attracted more moms. I attracted women that had had C-sections. So it's like, you can allow your business to grow with you, but don't be that scattered person who's like, I'm with this. Like, you can go up on a really great, gentle level. So it's just like, don't be scared of evolving. And if you are scared, you just take that fear and you just bust through it anyway.
Or like step back. Like I think you talked before, and like, if you're not making money, like I hate to say it, you've got to look in the mirror.
Yeah.
Like you really got to look in the mirror, and you got to ask yourself what, just like you said, like what old stories are really running the show that you may not see.
Well, and what kind of energy? Are you putting out a desperate energy? Are you putting out a frantic energy? Or are you putting out like, I am the confident person that's so secure in myself, and I know that I can help you in this way, ...
Because you believe it.
Exactly.
All right. Tell everyone social media handles where they, I mean, it will be in the show notes, but like where they can find you and stalk you and love you.
Okay. Stalk me.
Good stalk. Like,
don't scary stalk me, please. Please positively stalk me. You can find me at fearfultofit.com, and then on any stalker social medias, Fearful to Fit. Everything's Fearful to Fit.
Right. Love you, Periscope, but I had to get off for the stalking. It's a little cray. So like, maybe if you work on that, we'll come back.
Yeah. Please no scary stalkers. I'm putting that vibe out right now.
Shantae. Shantae. Slay.
Oh, that's awesome.
I always say that. Shantae. Slay. All right. So guys, thank you so much, listeners. As I always say, we as people take little information in blocks. It's how we learn. So when you're going through this podcast, stop it. Take it in. Like write down on your board of, wow, this really fuels me. This really pumps me up, or this drains me. Because it's knowing what serves you that really will take you to the next level. Make sure you stalk JJ in a healthy and loving way. And also like check her out, because there are lots of people out there who do have that glam net glitz, and it's wonderful, but it also costs a lot. And this is about simplicity and sustainability, the SS system. So stay tuned for the next kick-ass podcast with us here. My name is Rachel Feldman, and it is a pleasure. As we like to say in Philly, peace out, homie.
Peace out, homie.
Bye, guys.